Hey, what's up, everyone? Rinku from Guard back with some more decks. That's right. Trying to show off, well, not show off, but trying to show you guys all the decks that we have. Whatever, you know, what I play, what Joker plays. This time, we're doing a little something that Joker did a while ago in some of our very first videos, and it actually got a really good response. So I want to see what you guys think. So the deck that we're going to be showing you, Touken ranbu. No, this is not Joker's build. This is my personal build. I've been working on this for a month now. I've been trying to perfect it, you know, get things going, finding the cards. That's the most important thing. The cards are so hard to find. But I finally think, aside from a couple commons, I have the build that I want, and I'm going to sneak peek it to you guys and show it to you today. So we're going to start off a little different like we did in the last video. We're going to start off with the grade zeros. So, the starter that I use is Sail Samanoji Toku. Now, a lot of people are probably going to think, why are you playing that? It's really not that good. The thing is, all the other starters don't really do anything towards my playstyle. They don't fit me. This one kind of rewards me for being at a disadvantage. And that's what I enjoy about Touken ranbu. There's a lot of cards in the deck itself that rewards you for being behind. I absolutely adore decks that do that. And so that's the reason why I play this. And you know, there's a couple prominent Touken ranbu players that I've seen play this card. However, I wanted to play it not because they were playing it, but because, again, this is the best starter that goes to my playstyle. So I really appreciate the starter. And I kind of like the artwork too. I think the artwork's pretty cool. All right. Now, for the next trigger, 4 draws. Yes, I'm missing 1 countercharge draw. Two of them aren't even mine, so I had to borrow them to playtest. So, but yeah, once I get the play set of the draws, that's what's gonna be. Because this deck, oh my god, any experienced Touken ranbu player knows that this deck just sucks up counterblasts and soul more than Kagero does. I've watched Joker play so many games. In one turn, she had no soul and no counterblasts. And then next turn, she could do anything. So, those were some of the prototype decks, though. But since then, oh my god, I'm scared to play her Touken ranbu now. But, like I said, this is going to be what I'm going to be running. I love this draw trigger. It gives you both of the things that you need, soul and counterblast. I'm so happy that they've designed that card. It's so good. Next up, crits. Yeah, I know. I'm running the crits a little weird. But like I said, there's still cards that I can't find. I mean, I know someone who has them, but I'm not going to ask that person for them. So,
get my stuff out of it. I'm
going to hunt them down on my own. I have some of them. So, the main crit in the deck will be this one. Hold on, let me read the name. Shokudakiri Mitsusato. Okay, there we go.
Shokudakiri.
Okay. That guy. You'll have to forgive me if I butcher the names. I'm trying my best.
You have me in the background saying the names properly.
I know. But this is going to be the main crit in the deck. But right now, because of a shortage of 3 copies, I just went with the 3 crits that I found. And that's pretty much it. Now, the one that inspired me to want to really play Touken ranbu is actually Joker. Not because I've watched her play it, but because she doesn't shut up about it.
Fuck off.
So, all the time that we've been playing, that's all she talked about. When she went to her first ARG, she got 9th place with Touken ranbu. Just always talking about all kinds of different builds and sitting down with me talking about the anime and just all this stuff in general about Touken ranbu. So I'm like, you know what? I finally, last year, I was like, yeah, screw it. Let's just build it. So I've been tinkering and hunting the cards down, and yeah, that's pretty much. But getting back to the deck profile. 4 heal, Gokai. There's really no special heal that you play. It doesn't really matter what one you play. If you're playing the Toshiro build, you play that one. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
But the thing is, Gokai and Yitsune, they're part of the Toshiro family.
Yeah, that's a separate deck.
But they didn't give the name, the actual thing for them.
Yeah. And then finally, and this is my favorite card in the deck, Aizen. I love this stand trigger. I first pointed this out to Joker when she was working with her touken ranbu deck when she first got a whole bunch of stuff. And at the ARG event that she got 9th place, I was barely able to go by the skin of my teeth and get all the things that she needed to play in the tournament. If she knew then what she knows now about the deck, she probably would have won the event. I'm not kidding you. She more than likely would have won the event with the deck. Because it's one of these decks that just do a whole bunch of stuff and no one knows what it does. Because it does everything. But I like multi-attacking. So while touken ranbu doesn't really excel at multi-attacking, they have a lot of cards that enable it. And this one is definitely one of my favorites. It doesn't really require a big stipulation. You just have a grade 4 Vanguard with Hamara ability, which is pretty easy. And when that Vanguard attacks, you restand him. Then if your Vanguard has Hamura, you restand the unit in the same column as him. So this is insane. I fell in love with that card when I actually paid attention to it. And you'll see some of the things that I play in the deck later on. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, now we're going to go to the grade 1s. And again, like in any profiles that we post, I would love to hear your opinions on the deck, what you think I could do to improve it. And we will have some gameplay of any decks that we profile. It may not be now, it may not be, the next day, but I promise you we will have games of the decks that we profile. For starting off on the grade 1s, Mitsuno Kami Yoshiyuki Toku. Now, when I was building this deck, I was trying to figure out a way to make it compete with all the decks that have V format support. And one of the big factors that I saw, and one of the big reasons for why I designed the deck the way I did, is because there's too many Vanguards now that have 12k, 13k bodies. So, unless I'm going to hit a trigger, I'm not going to really be able to hit them for magic numbers, or at least hit them with a poke. So that's where he comes in. Attacking from the back row. I like it. Awesome. Cool. Cool beans. And when I attack, I can CB1, SB1 on GB1. For those of you that don't know, Counterblast, Soul Blast. When I attack, I get plus 6k. Well, plus 9k. Yeah, it's plus 9. Yeah, plus 9k. I apologize. Plus 9. So that makes it a 16k hit. So I'm able to hit those Excel clans, and I'm able to hit those Force decks and those Protect decks for a poke. So that was my main goal in actually putting this grade 1 in here. My original build only had 3, and then I was going through it and realized that I had 9 grade 3s in my other one. So then I fixed it up, and I put the 4th one in here and said screw it. But yes, I would not play the deck without that. And then the next grade 1 I play is Hanibame Toshiro Toku, and thank you, Joker, for allowing me to pronounce that properly, because you keep saying it to me. She actually showed me that this card is so good. So good. It does half of what you want it to do, and that's countercharge. Yeah, you give up a soul, but that's fine, because there's cards in the deck that allow you to get more soul back. One of the draw triggers is one of the things. And then this also can bounce back to your hand from the rear guard at the end of your turn. And then for
about the lock.
I'm not worried about that right now. And then, 4-shot enabler. This is another reason why I like the stand trigger. Most people forget that this actually can give your Vanguard the Hamura ability. And I forgot about that too. So when me and Joker were sitting down talking about this build, me and her realized that. She even forgot, and she's I consider her like the best player for touken ranbu. If I were to go to someone, I would go to her about the deck. She knows so much about the anime, and that gives her even more in-depth knowledge into the card game.
You also gotta remember, I just enjoy swords in general, so I know their history.
So this is another reason why I don't mind playing those stands, because if I don't have a printed Vanguard with Hamura ability, I can give my Vanguard that Hamura ability. And this gives 5k. And if I hit, I countercharge too. What more do you want? What more do you want in versatility? So many people think that touken ranbu sucks. The deck does not suck. Touken ranbu is amazing. If you think it sucks, that just means you either lost to it, or you don't understand what the deck does. If you want to understand exactly how it works, play with it, play against it. That's how I learned. I thought the deck sucked too. In my collection, I've never owned this deck. Anytime that I had cards for this deck, I either traded them or gave them away. Just because I didn't want to play it. But I regret doing that. This deck is so fun. That's the main factor of it. It's so fun. Oh man, it's just so awesome. Alright, then the final grade 1, perfect cards. This does, again, another half of what you want. Countercharge. Countercharge, countercharge, countercharge. I cannot stress how important that is in this deck. It's just like all the other perfect cards. Excuse me. If you have another copy of it in the drop zone when you play it on Guardian Circle, after you pay the cost, then you get the countercharge.
Make sure it's not in your soul. Does
Yeah.
not help you.
Yeah, just don't do that while it's in your soul, because then that'd be weird.
I've already soul charged all 4 of them in one game.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. Alright.
One after the other.
Now, going into the grade 2s. My grade 2 lineup is very weird, but again, it's fit for my playstyle. Hasabe. Yes. I play 2 Hasabe. This card is very underrated. Very underrated. It not being GB restricted is insane for the early game rush. If you let this hit, I'm restanding it. I don't care. You can give your Vanguard triggers all you want. If you let this hit, I'm attacking a rear guard. In the back row. And that's exactly what it does. A Hummer ability, Counterblast 1. When this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, pay the cost. If you do, you stand it. Gets plus 2k. And then the continuous skill. It cannot attack the Vanguard, but it can instead attack a rear guard in the back row. That's so good. That is so good. This is so good. And it fits what I want to do and gives me what I want to accomplish as far as what the deck does. And then for a little draw power and a little bit of kind of a counter of control, I play 3 Shishio. I've seen a lot of builds that play 4, and I've seen a lot of builds that play none. There was one that I saw in a video at a 1K event, and the guy did really good. And he was playing 4 of them, if I'm not mistaken. I opted for...
That guy?
Yes, you did. It was you played him round 1 at the 1K.
Yeah, touken ranbu versus touken ranbu.
Yeah. So, this card has a little more versatility, but it does suck up your resources, but that's fine. It's draw power, and it's something that can prevent you from being retired. So, that's pretty much what I think. That's why I play 3. I didn't want to play 4 because 4 is overkill, and if you have to ride that, you're going to get rushed, and you're probably going to die. And then for a little more defense, I play 4 Okoro. I'm pretty sure I said the name wrong. But
I'm not correcting.
I play 3 of the 10K. Not Mikazuki, the other 10K.
The one that doesn't have an effect, but he also has a card, another grade 2 that has the Nissan Kaigen ability.
Yeah. So the purpose of me playing this is for more defense. As you know, all these decks that have V support, they have so many high power triggers, plus 10k, and then they have all these crazy effects, so I imagine you get force. So in early game rush, if my opponent's going to try to kill me early game, this helps a little bit, and it helps regulate the numbers so that way there I don't really die too easy. Other than that, it doesn't really do anything for the deck. It's just mainly if I have it in my hand, I'm going to ride it. It's always going to be ridden. Then the final grade 2, and this is actually an idea that I got from one of Joker's builds. For Hizumaru. This is one of her favorite cards. I will not tell you her absolute favorite. That's for her to tell you in another video. But this is one of her favorite cards to run in the deck. She was trying to get me to understand why she played it, and the way she used it was really weird, and then I finally understood why. There were so many games where her attack patterns were really weird, and then every time I looked, there was always 1 to 2 of the Hizumaru on the field. I'm like, okay, so that's why that's happening. And believe it or not, most of the time I would lose. I would lose because I just wasn't paying attention. So, Shin Kinisatsu, during her turn, it gets plus 2k, and the auto skill, once per turn, GB2. If your drive check reveals a grade 3, you stand it. Perfect for aggression. Perfect. Absolutely perfect for aggression. Against decks that don't have V support, this card is insane. Against decks that are Excel, Protect, and Force, not so much, unless you give it power. And there are cards in the deck that give you power, hence that crit that I don't have 4 of.
There's also a stride that you don't use that
Yeah.
really messes with other decks.
Yes. Alright, now the grade 3s. I'm super proud of myself for actually piecing this together, and I want to give a shout out to Joker for allowing me to borrow the cards not only to do this deck profile, but to possibly playtest at some point. I cannot find any of these, but I play 4 Susumaru. It does, aside from countercharging, it does all the main things that I want. Manages soul. Gives units +3. I love it. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm pretty sure it countercharges. If it's oh yeah, Soul Blast 1, if its attack hits, you may pay the cost if you do countercharge 1, and then you get a grade 3 from your drop zone. So that allows you to recycle any of your stuff. Now, you'll have to forgive me because I didn't read the first effect, because 90% of the time, I'm not going to go first, because I usually lose a die roll, and I'm always going to stride. So, I only pay attention to the stride ability. But the first ability is insane. And then, this is actually my favorite card out of Touken ranbu, and she never knew this, but it's Hatomaru. He's actually one of my favorite characters, too. I've never watched the anime that much, but I've watched it enough to know what Hatomaru is. And this is one of my favorite cards.
One of the bitchiest characters.
I don't care. He fucking reminds me of myself.
Yeah,
but
small. Your butt with the glare.
That's fine. Apologize about the glare, but this is one of my favorite cards. Not only because of the artwork is so amazing. I love the SP, but for the versatility that it has in the rear guard. Again, I want a multi-attack, so being able to restand an entire column is pretty dang good in my book. So, yeah, oh man, I've seen some people play a 1-1 split of Legion. I'm just not really geared for that as far as my playstyle goes. I don't want to play a 1-1 split of the Legion. That's like playing one Big Bang Knuckle Dragon and one of the Cross Ride for him. That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, onto the Stride Zone. Now, the Stride Zone is specifically built to go against the current meta. So, aside from maybe 1 or 2 cards, everything in this deck counters certain aspects of the new support and the new mechanics. And I will let you know what cards I believe counter what. The first Stride we're going to start off with is 2 Susumaru Toku. Joker and a couple other people have shown me that this card is broken within its own right. This card is absolutely amazing. That's Joker, by the way.
I'm protecting it from the glare.
She's my huge inspiration for building this deck. And losing to this deck and beating this deck and playing against this deck so much has made me realize that this card is detrimental to how the deck works. Just in general, recycling your resources, insane. There are times where we forget that it is not Shiken Nishatsu. So that does play a little part in our play areas, but she's better at it than I am. I'm still kind of on the learning board as far as the names and stuff go. All right,
I'll crack him into it. We'll just binge watch Touken ranbu, Zakuro, Touken ranbu, Kitsugeki, and the first Hanamaru as well. So,
right. Speaking of Hanamaru, again,
that's Hatomaru, not Hanamaru.
No, speaking of Hamura, that's what I meant to say. Hamura ability, printed Hamura ability, and it's my favorite character and one of my other favorite SPs. I literally only play him because of the stand. That's why I play 2. I don't play 4. I don't want to play 4. I don't want to restand. That's not my intention. If I have the ability to do it, I will. But that's not my intention. That's not my goal. The main goal is to have strides that can benefit you in some way, shape, or form. This doesn't really counter anything in the current meta, neither does Susumaru. Susumaru is only management for resources. This one is meant for the combo with the stand trigger to get multi-attacks. Now, the stride of Iwatoshi. Okay, so, Excel. How many front row riggers do they usually have? Between 4 or 5, right? Depending on how many cards they ride with the Excel marker gift. So, he kind of craps on that.
He says, no way.
Yeah, he craps on the entire front row. So, in my opinion, this counters Excel decks hard. So, if they're not careful, you can catch them off guard with this. If I were to change the deck, I'd probably take out the 2 of this for 2 more Iwatoshi. But right now, I'm going to stick with what I have, because I still need to playtest it. The next card, I think this is just so good against force. It pretty much forces a lot of shield. Ishikimaru Toku.
Ishikimaru.
Now, when we were first playing this, well, when Joker was first playing this card, she was always using 2 of them in her stride zone because she always thought that it was Persona Flip. But it isn't. It's Flip Anything. And just recently, I think it was like 3 months ago?
I think it was 2.
2 or 3? Between 2 and 3 months ago, I pointed it out to her. And she's like, wait, what? So she looks at the card. She literally had the card all out to her face like this. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's so good. I've been playing this card wrong. I'm like, no, you haven't been playing it wrong. You've just been flipping up the copy of it. That's it. So I believe this has a little bit of an inherent ability to counter force. Like I said, because it gives you the ability to make your opponent get rid of more shield. And that's important, force decks. Because there's such high defensive power, they can just go, okay, 5k on a 17k block. Oh, you're 21? Okay, well, I'll just guard here with this 10k. Okay, 23, no pass on a rear guard attack. So
he also gets 4 drive and a crit.
Yep, and plus 10k. And that's why I believe it's very good against force decks. Now, I play one of the Mikazuki Munikichi Toku. Yeah, granted it's not that good, but I believe this counters Excel and Protect because it makes them get rid of resources.
Are you sure you're looking at the right one?
Oh yeah, I am. Believe me, that's the one with the 2 GB effects.
Okay.
I'm looking at the right one. Believe me.
Because the one that gets rid of resources is...
We'll get to that later. I don't mean to cut you off. We'll get to that later.
That one doesn't really get rid of resources. That just stands everything, pretty much.
And against Excel and Protect decks, Protect wants to keep a lot of cards in hand. So that's going to make them think, okay, should I take the damage? Or do I guard? Now, all of my attacks will be 6k per column more powerful. So that's why I believe he counters force. Not force, but Excel and Protect. Not so much force because they have more of a defensive capability. Now, this next card, 100% counters Excel decks. The original Mikazuki Munikichi.
Yeah, sure. Show Juzamaru while you're at it.
So, how many times in a match are you going to have 5 to 6 cards face up in the G zone? Okay, I can answer that. If you're playing in a competitive environment, probably not a lot because you're playing against NLK or some deck that kills you in one turn. Who cares about that? I don't care about the metagame. I don't complain about it. I personally think the metagame's fine the way it is. And if I didn't think that, I wouldn't build this deck to counter the metagame. Now, granted, this doesn't really do much against NLK, but
you can mess with it a little.
It can kind of pressure it, where they have to get rid of a lot of cards or take a lot of damage. And then you have a chance to just multi-attack or crit them out of the game. So, but it's mainly for Excel. That's why I play the 4 of these. And there's really no... There's Nihongo, but I don't want to play that. Even though it stops Sentinels, I just feel like I don't want to play that. Because the effect for me, it kind of hinders me, because I want to attack with some of the rear guards first. I don't want to attack with the Vanguard, get some stand triggers and lose out on those. So that's the reason why I play that. And this generates its own crit and it gets power. So what more do you want?
For each card face up.
Yeah. No, well, the plus 3,000 power for each card face up. But if you have 3 or more, then it gets plus 1 crit.
Yeah.
Or 2 or more, whichever one.
2 or more.
And then the final cards are the G guards. So one Kosetsu Samanoji Toku. Again, thank you, Joker, for giving me the ability to pronounce his name correctly. Aside from being a G-Guard, there's not really too much that I can say. It's a high shield value. It does a lot. So it can do more if your opponent is not playing V-Support. But it still makes up for the fact that any of the other clans that you might play against in tournaments will have those high-powered shields. Or those high-powered triggers, so that way, so this will definitely do good. And then the final card, and this counters Excel. This counters Excel and it counters Force a little bit.
Juzumaru.
Juzumaru, yeah.
You said Juzumaru. It's
So,
Juzu, not Juzu.
Okay. Now,
Make him sound dirty.
I hate this card.
He's a Buddha man.
I hate this card. I absolutely hate this card. I will tell you why. Brief explanation. Joker. Plays 3 of them on me. Restanding Vanguard. I'm at 6,000 power. GG no re. That's pretty much what I do, and I just lose next turn. That's what happens. That's what she usually does. But with that being said, that's my personal iteration of touken ranbu. If you guys have any suggestions or comments, please.
We can do a touken ranbu mirror match if you like.
We can
see who can trash each other fast.
We can. I probably don't mind doing that. But with that being said, this is Rinku signing out.
Me out.
and I'm gonna do a jutsu to summon Joker. Alright guys, we'll see you soon.